WTOPnews.com.
It's 6:03 here, Tuesday, April the 22nd. We're at 65 degrees right now under a mix of clouds and sun. Highs today around 80. A very good morning indeed. I'm John Doman.
I'm Michelle Bash. Our top local story, several Democratic members of Congress have followed up the trip to El Salvador made by Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. They want to draw attention to the Maryland man mistakenly deported there, but felt let down by a meeting they had there. It comes as the Trump administration's newest court filing says Kilmar Abrego Garcia is in, quote, good condition and an excellent state of health. WTOP's Mitchell Miller has more today on the Hill.
We got to be clear, this isn't just about him.
Florida Congressman Martin Frost, who says the visit wasn't solely about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who's been held in El Salvador for more than a month. Frost notes he has lots of immigrants in his district who are worried, given that the Trump administration has said Abrego Garcia was deported by mistake, but is now imprisoned and can't leave.
Due process applies to all people in our country.
The four lawmakers who made the trip say a meeting at the U.S. Embassy gave no indication the Trump administration is trying to facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia. A federal judge plans to hold another hearing soon to determine what's actually taking place in the highly polarizing case. On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
The Bay Bridge needs more protection against ship strikes like the one that collapsed the nearby Key Bridge last year. WTOP's Luke Lukert tells us that's the finding of a new study.
The Maryland Transportation Authority will develop both long and short-term plans to protect the Bay Bridge after an assessment showed it was vulnerable. Among some of the suggestions in the short term are requiring reduced speeds for ships and possible one-way transits. In the long term, the transit agency will look into more physical protection against ship strikes, including pier fenders and additional dolphins, which are concrete barriers that are placed further away from support columns. All this comes as studies continue on replacing the Bay Bridge. After the Key Bridge collapse that killed 6 people, the National Transportation Safety Board called for dozens of other at-risk bridges to conduct these safety assessments. Luke Luger, WTOP News.
The Vatican has announced Pope Francis's funeral will take place this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. local time in St. Peter's Square. Public viewing will start Wednesday at St. Peter's Basilica. The Cardinals met for the first time today to chart the next steps before a conclave begins to choose Francis's successor. Meantime, both locally and around the world, the faithful are grieving history's first Latin American pope. WTOP's Ellen Etter reports.
As I was growing in the faith and growing in my formation as a priest, it was all about Pope Francis.
Father Isaac Sagastumi here at St. Matthew's Cathedral became a priest largely on the inspiration of Francis.
He was very inspiring, but he sought mercy, and he asked us to give mercy to other people. So that's affected me a great deal.
Linda lives in Washington, D.C. One of Francis's most memorable quotes was, "Who am I to judge?" when asked about homosexuality.
It's a very simple thing. You catch yourself, Why are you judging? Why am I judging? It gets in the way of life, a true good life.
Alan Etter, WTOP News.
If you're a Caps fan who stayed up all the way to the end of Game 1 last night, you're probably pretty tired today. You couldn't go to sleep early last night. You couldn't go to sleep easily either.
Alex Ovechkin, the overtime game-winning goal. Caps lead the series 1-0.
Yeah, that is John Walton with the call on the Capitals radio network. See, the Caps had that 2-0 lead over the Montreal Canadiens. And still, the game ended up in overtime. Luckily, Ovechkin was there with his first ever overtime goal in the playoffs. All the details coming ahead with Dave Preston at 25 and 55 after each hour all morning long.
And coming up on WTOP in Money News, world markets reacting today to U.S. tariffs concerns and more. We'll get traffic and weather in 30 seconds.
For far too long, government warehouse and distribution centers